It's funny. Usually when we face a massive, overwhelming problem in life, our very first instinct is to just grab the steering wheel tighter.
Right, exactly. It's a completely biological imperative.
Yeah, it's like skidding on ice. The brain just screams at you to steer hard, slam on the brakes, and just control the car.
Because the sympathetic nervous system engages.
Yeah.
We immediately equate gripping tightly with safety.
Right.
The mind just believes that if we apply enough force, we can somehow bend the situation to our will.
Which is such a universal human experience. I mean, we think if I just grip this wheel hard enough, if I micromanage every single variable of my day, I can force the exact outcome I want.
Yes, but as anyone who's actually driven on ice knows,
slamming on the brakes is the absolute worst thing you can do.
The exact opposite of what you should do, yeah.
You actually have to steer into the skid. You have to paradoxically surrender a bit of control to regain your balance and actually find your way through.
And that counterintuitive idea, steering into the skid, letting go of the illusion of control to gain actual stability, that is the foundational concept we are exploring today.
So welcome to this deep dive. I'll be your host today, and we have a genuinely fascinating mission ahead of us.
Can all be your resident expert breaking down the mechanics and the psychology behind today's topic.
We are looking at a really detailed metaphysical guide, which includes some super grounded, practical insights from the Retailer Crystals by Rob, and it's all centered around this one specific mineral formation called the Sera stone.
Right, and we're going to be synthesizing a tremendous amount of diverse information today for you.
Oh, absolutely.
To give you a complete picture, we'll be analyzing the stone's highly complex physical composition, the specific emotional claims attached to it, and this really deeply intricate web of esoteric associations.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Because the source material presents this crystal not just as a pretty rock to put on your shelf.
No, not at all.
It's framed as this intense, energetic multivitamin, like the ultimate antidote to our modern, exhausting obsession with control.
Which is incredibly relevant right now.
Totally. And whether you are, a dedicated spiritual practitioner surrounded by incense, or you're just someone sitting in traffic right now looking for a way to ease your daily anxiety, there is a really profound psychological concept baked right into the lore of this stone.
It really operates on multiple levels simultaneously. I mean, fundamentally, it's a study in how we interact with the unknown, how we physically and mentally process anxiety, and how we set emotional boundaries when we feel completely overwhelmed.
Right. So to really understand the psychological and energetic effects this stone supposedly has, we have to start with its physical makeup.
The physical structure is key here.
Yeah, because the Sera stone is technically a type of rhyolite, but it contains a highly unique blend of 7 specific minerals, just all mashed together.
7 very distinct minerals, yes.
You've got quartz, feldspar, calcite, kaolinite, iron, magnetite, and clinozoisite.
That's right.
At first glance, I looked at this list and thought, well, it's like an Earth-made geological smoothie, you know, just a blender full of different geological ingredients.
It's a fun image, but if we look at the mechanism behind crystal healing frameworks, a smoothie kind of implies everything is blended into one uniform flavor.
Oh, I see what you mean.
A better way to understand how these 7 minerals are said to function together is to look at it like a geological orchestra.
Oh, an orchestra. I like that.
Yeah, because in these traditions, a single mineral stone often has a very targeted singular purpose.
Oh.
But here, you have 7 distinct frequencies playing all at once.
So they each have a specific role in the composition.
Precisely. You have iron and magnetite, right? Magnetite literally aligns with the Earth's magnetic poles.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yes. So in this framework, it acts as the heavy bass line. It's the grounding rhythm that keeps you anchored to reality.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then you have quartz, which is structurally known to amplify energy. So that acts as the lead violin, hitting those high notes of intuition.
Right. Quartz is always the amplifier.
Exactly. And then you add in kaolinite, which is a very soft clay mineral, and calcite, which is often associated with clearing.
So what do they do in the orchestra?
They act as the acoustic dampening. They soften the emotional blows and soothe the nervous system.
And then things like feldspar and clinozoisite are providing the structural support.
Exactly that.
It makes total sense when you put it that way. It's not just a random assortment. The text suggests it's a deliberately broad spectrum of tools, all packed into one object.
Which perfectly aligns with its name, if you think about it.
Yes. Sera stone comes directly from that famous phrase, Sera.
Translating to whatever will be, will be.
Exactly. The text actually calls it a stone of the future that promotes cosmic surrender and joyful anticipation.
The physical diversity of the stone essentially provides that broad support system you need to actually tune out the noise of your anxiety.
And just accept the present moment.
Right. What's fascinating here is how the source explicitly connects that multi-mineral composition to tackling the modern epidemic of anxiety.
Which, let's be real, we are all dealing with.
We absolutely are. The text notes that this stone replaces the agonizing need to control everything with a calm assurance that everything is unfolding exactly as it should.
Yeah, it encourages playfulness, right, and helps people detach from specific, rigid outcomes.
Yes, and we all know that feeling of being overly attached to an outcome.
Oh my gosh, yes. You're lying awake at 2 a.m. playing out 50 different catastrophic scenarios for tomorrow's meeting.
Generating literal stress hormones over things that haven't even happened yet.
Exactly. And the text describes this stone as an antidote to those exact what-if thoughts.
Emotionally, it claims to help release deep blockages.
Yeah, it's highlighted as being especially great for people who carry other people's emotional weight or, people who really struggle to just say no.
It acts as an energetic boundary.
Right. And energetically, it's described as a spiritual battery. It clears out stagnant energy and creates this robust shield against what the text calls electromagnetic smog.
All the EMFs from our screens and devices.
Which we are drowning in. Plus psychic attacks.
Notice the duality in those claims, though.
What do you mean?
Well, on one hand, it was acting as a filter and a boundary setter against external noise, like the EMFs and other people's emotional baggage.
Right.
But on the other hand, it is acting as an internal battery, keeping your core energy intact.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. I want to throw this out for you to ponder because this jumped out at me immediately when I was reading the sources.
What's that?
If the entire goal of this stone is to let go of control, right? To trust the universe, to literally embody whatever will be, will be.
Yes.
Isn't it a massive paradox that human beings are using a physical object, a literal tool, to anchor that feeling?
I see where you're going.
Like we are using a tool to force ourselves to stop using tools, in a way. It's like we need this tangible permission slip to finally stop micromanaging our lives.
It is a paradox, but if we connect this to the bigger picture of human biology, it makes perfect psychological sense.
Really? How so?
Well, human psychology often requires a physical anchor to process highly abstract emotional concepts.
Okay, I'm following.
Surrender is an incredibly difficult, almost threatening concept for the human brain to grasp. Our nervous systems are wired to predict and control our environments for survival.
Right, that 2 a.m. panic I mentioned, that's just your biological alarm system firing off.
Exactly. So holding a heavy tactile object made of 7 minerals gives the nervous system something literal to hold on to.
Oh, wow.
The physical sensation, the weight, the temperature, it interrupts that biological panic loop while the mind practices letting go.
So you literally need to physically grip something so your mind can ungrip.
That is the exact mechanism at play. And the text actually uses a brilliant metaphor to explain how this feels.
The tuning metaphor, right?
Yep. Yes. It describes the stone's energy as tuning a person's frequency. Think of it like tuning a guitar.
Okay.
You aren't forcing the string to play a note it wasn't designed to play. You are adjusting its tension so it resonates perfectly with the environment.
That makes a lot of sense.
And that's why it purportedly helps with saying no and maintaining boundaries. Surrendering control to the universe doesn't mean becoming a doormat for other people's problems.
Right, you tune your frequency so your emotional boundaries remain completely intact, even while you surrender your need to control the future.
Precisely.
I love that distinction. Surrender doesn't mean collapse.
No, not at all.
And having established how this stone sets those emotional boundaries and clears out that energetic static, the source material moves us upward.
Into the chakra system.
Yeah, we start getting into the loftier spiritual claims,
Wow.
Specifically how this orchestra of minerals interacts with the chakras.
The energetic centers of the body, moving from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head.
And the claim in the text is huge here. The source states that the Sera stone stimulates and balances all of the chakras to ground spiritual insights into physical actions.
All of them, yes.
We are talking about the root chakra for stability, the sacral for creativity, the solar plexus for personal power, the heart for compassion and empathy, and the throat for clear communication.
Creating a harmonious, unbroken loop of energy from the earth all the way up to the stars.
But it heavily emphasizes the upper chakras,
It does.
specifically the third eye, or ajna, which is tied to intuition, clairaudience, and seeing beyond illusions.
Right.
And the crown, or sahasrara, which is your gateway to divine connection, higher consciousness, and oneness with the universe.
And this brings us to another interesting tension in the material.
Yes. Here is where I hit another massive contradiction in the text.
The tension between passive acceptance and active creation.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
The source material states that while the stone teaches you the ultimate lesson of letting go of control, it simultaneously helps you recognize that you are a co-creator of your reality.
Which trips a lot of people up.
Yeah, because how does that work mechanically? How can a stone whose very name means whatever will be, which implies total passive surrender, also be the thing that awakens you to the fact that you are actively co-creating your reality?
This raises an important question, and honestly, it explores one of the most widely misunderstood concepts in metaphysical philosophy.
I can see why.
We tend to view surrender and creation as polar opposites. But in these frameworks, true co-creation isn't about rigid micromanagement.
Okay.
It is not about dictating every single detail of how your goal will be achieved.
It's not about gripping the steering wheel and forcing the car where you want it to go.
Exactly. It is about aligning your intentions, your actions, and your vibrational frequency with the universal flow.
Oh, you still have to act.
You do the work. You set the boundary. You take the action. You create the necessary conditions, but you surrender the exact outcome.
I see.
You release the anxiety of how and when it will happen. You trust the timing.
So whatever will be, doesn't mean you just sit on the couch and do nothing.
Right. It means you do your part,
Yeah.
and then you step back and trust the momentum to handle the rest.
Wow.
The stone acts as a bridge between your personal power, which is the solar plexus, and your divine trust, which is the crown.
That is a very fine line to walk, but it makes the whole concept feel a lot more empowering.
It really does.
Now, if co-creation requires that kind of intense, aligned intention, it makes sense that practitioners would need specific tools to focus that intention.
Which brings us to the deep lore.
Yes. To fully grasp how spiritual practitioners actually use this stone to tap into the crown and the third eye chakras, we have to look at the incredibly specific, intricate web of esoteric associations tied to it in the source material.
And the lists of correspondences provided in the text are exhaustive. They span across multiple different global traditions.
It's like a massive metaphysical filing system.
That's a great way to put it.
The stone is essentially a cross-reference key linking an earth mineral to planets, plants, and angels.
Let's look at some examples.
Sure, for instance, shared across both the crown and third eye chakras, this stone is associated with specific animals: the eagle, the raven, and the spider.
Now, if we look closely at those symbols, the eagle and raven are creatures of the air, representing flight and higher perspectives.
Seeing the big picture from above.
Exactly. And the spider is universally recognized in mythology as the weaver of fate.
Oh, that ties back to the co-creation.
Yes, you're weaving your reality, but you must look at it from a higher perspective to see the pattern.
That makes perfect sense. It's also tied to the Archangel Metatron and the astrological signs of Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra.
Which, again, are all air signs.
Right. The element itself is listed as spirit. The gods and goddesses shared between the two chakras include Buddha, Ahura Mazda, Kuan Yin, and Zeus.
A very diverse group.
And it's associated with spirits like sylphs, zephyrs, and fairies of trees, flowers, and winds.
Notice the recurring theme of the intangible here.
What do you mean?
Well, Ahura Mazda, for context, is the Zoroastrian creator god associated with ultimate light and wisdom. Sylphs and zephyrs are elemental spirits of the air and the wind.
Okay, yeah.
Why so much focus on air and wind?
Yeah.
Because air is the one element you literally cannot grip in your hands.
Oh, wow.
It forces the practitioner to internalize the concept of letting go.
That is brilliant. It's like a conceptual training ground.
Exactly.
But then the tools split depending on which specific frequency you want to tune into.
Right, they get very specific.
Yeah, if you were using the stone for the crown chakra, for that divine connection and higher consciousness, the text says you should use a violet candle.
Yeah.
You are dealing with the planets Jupiter and Uranus. You want to use rosewood or lavender essential oils. The herbs are gotu kola, blue lotus, and bacopa.
Which are heavily tied to the mind.
The incense should be frankincense or myrrh, and the specific goddesses are Juno and Gaia.
The mechanism here is expansion. Jupiter is the astrological planet of massive expansion and higher learning.
Oh, that makes sense for the crown.
And frankincense and violet have long historical associations with divinity and opening the mind to higher realms.
So if the crown is all about Jupiter's expansion, I'm guessing the third eye uses a completely different sensory palette to trigger that psychic intuition.
It does. It requires a much more focused internal architecture.
Which perfectly aligns with the text, because for the third eye, you switch to an indigo candle.
Right.
The planets are Saturn and Neptune. The oils are patchouli and hyacinth. The herbs and incense are cinnamon, passion flower, cardamom, and shankpushpi.
A very specific blend.
And the goddesses are Lua and Salacia. I read this and I initially thought, why?
Why all the specific details?
Yeah, why all these hyper-specific lists? I actually had to look up shankpushpi. It's an Ayurvedic herb traditionally used for memory and cognitive brain function.
Yes, it is.
Why go to the trouble of matching a specific rock with a specific Ayurvedic herb and the planet Saturn?
It is about sensory layering.
Yeah.
Or what we might call psychological hacking.
Psychological hacking.
Yes. When a practitioner uses these lists, they aren't just memorizing mystical trivia. They are utilizing these specific herbs, these exact candle colors, and these planetary concepts alongside the physical scone.
To do what?
To build a highly focused, multi-sensory environment for meditation and ritual.
So it's not magic, it's method.
Exactly that. Imagine this scenario. If you smell the sharp resin of frankincense, see a flickering violet flame, feel the heavy grounding weight of the Sera stone in your palm, and mentally focus on the archetype of Jupiter's expansion.
You're hitting every sense at once.
Yes, you're signaling your subconscious mind through multiple senses simultaneously.
Yeah.
You're creating an immersive environment that commands the brain to shift out of its daily panic mode.
And into a state of deep spiritual receptivity.
Right. The stone acts as the center point, the physical conductor for all these different sensory inputs.
Which elevates this from just like a list of random facts into a real psychological technology.
It really is a technology of the mind.
It's a way of intentionally building an atmosphere of surrender. But as fascinating as it is to talk about Her Mazda, archangels, and, hacking your subconscious with violet candles.
There's a very grounded side to this.
Yes, the source materials is deeply practical too. I want to pull us back down from the cosmos and focus on how this is utilized in everyday mundane life.
Which is where the retailer Crystals by Rob really grounds the material.
Totally.
They focus heavily on the everyday application of these lofty metaphysical concepts.
Crystals by Rob highlights some incredibly practical everyday uses. Like, you don't need to light an indigo candle to get the benefits.
No, you don't.
They suggest keeping a piece of Sera stone right on your desk. The reasoning: to help you make business or daily decisions from a place of grounded intuition rather than fear-based logic.
Because it serves as a visual and tactile interrupter to the anxiety loop.
Oh, exactly.
When you are staring at an overwhelming spreadsheet, the stone is sitting right there as a reminder of a different perspective.
Yes. They also suggest using it as a travel companion, carrying it with you to remain adaptable when flights inevitably get delayed or travel plans change.
Very practical.
They recommend placing a specimen near your computer to help mitigate that EMF radiation we mentioned earlier. You can just carry it in your pocket for mindful breaks.
Just having it on hand.
Literally taking it out to hold for 10 seconds to get some daily stress relief. You can hold it during morning affirmations, repeating things like, I trust the flow of life.
Simple, repetitive grounding.
They even suggest gifting it to someone going through a major life transition, like move or a job change, to provide comfort during a period of total uncertainty.
The recurring theme we see here from Crystals by Rob is using the stone as an accessible tool for cultivating a peaceful, grounded approach to life's inherent uncertainties.
Yeah.
It takes the esoteric concept of whatever will be, and turns it into an actionable daily habit.
So what does this all mean for you, the person listening to this right now? Maybe you have an altar covered in crystals and you have a jar of shankpushpi ready to go. Or maybe you are a total skeptic and you think crystal healing is 100% placebo effect.
Which is a valid perspective to hold.
Sure. But even if you are a staunch skeptic, I want you to think about the undeniable psychological value of having a tactile, physical reminder sitting on your desk.
The literal touchstone.
Exactly. When you are having a chaotic, stressful workday and you physically reach out and feel the weight of that stone, it is a physical prompt to step back, take a deep breath, and trust the process.
That is the ultimate takeaway here. Whether a person believes it operates through inherent multidimensional vibrational energy, Or they view it strictly through the lens of psychological conditioning and sensory layering.
The end result is often exactly the same.
Yes. The stone serves as an effective, tangible anchor for mindfulness.
Yeah.
It biologically interrupts the nervous system's panic response and reminds the user of their conscious intention to surrender to the present moment.
It's that permission slip we talked about earlier. Just giving yourself permission, even for a moment, to stop gripping the wheel so hard.
And in a culture that demands constant productivity and relentless control over our futures, having an object whose entire stated purpose is to remind you that what will be, is a radical psychological intervention.
It really is.
It provides the grounding force needed to safely explore higher intuition, ensuring that those lofty air element insights are brought down into practical, everyday reality.
Which is a beautiful summary of what makes this deep dive so compelling.
Thank you.
The Sera stone is this remarkable intersection of complex geology and profound psychology.
It's really an orchestra.
Physically, it's an orchestra, 7 different minerals, from heavy iron to amplifying quartz, all playing together. And emotionally, it is a tool specifically designed to cut through the noise of modern life. It helps protect your energetic boundaries, gives you the strength to say no without guilt, and most importantly, it teaches that delicate art of surrendering to what will be, while still actively aligning your intentions to co-create your future.
It asks us to trust the momentum instead of fighting it.
So I want to leave you with a final, lingering thought to mull over today as you go about your business.
Something to ponder.
Think about the sheer amount of mental energy you burn every single day trying to control uncontrollable outcomes.
It's exhausting.
The worrying, the planning, the 2 a.m. stress loops. If the entire philosophy of Sera, a state of joyful anticipation and total surrender, can be perfectly embodied by a simple 7-mineral stone formed millions of years ago in the earth,
Right.
what might happen if you applied that exact same whatever will be mindset to the biggest source of stress in your life right now?
It's a great question.
What if, instead of gripping the steering wheel tighter and slamming on the brakes, you simply took your hands off, trusted the momentum, and finally steered into the skid?